Well, the old eBay package showed up today, and this should be the gears that I need for my printer repair. Love the homemade box. My bag of gears. Are they the right ones? That's the next question. Here's that gear train for the paper picker-upper, and the first gear we need to deal with is this one. That looks like it's the same as this one. Yeah, that's definitely the one for that. And then this guy is the one that's really messed up. And we've got a match here. Awesome. So those are the two gears that I really needed. This one, despite riding against a broken gear, doesn't seem to have any damage whatsoever. And all the rest of these are good too. Probably should have put some gloves on. Too late. And we'll drop that right down in here where it meshes nicely. Now we can see how it's supposed to work. It spins this way, this little gear here, it runs into it. When it goes one way, that it just sort of flips off into one side and can sit there and spin. But then when I spin the gear the other way, watch what happens. The gear moves in its slot, grabs, and moves this little trolley along. And of course, this is the thing that actually lifts up the paper picker-upper so that it comes off the paper. Normally, this would be back, and the picker-upper drops down on the paper by spring force. This is what actually picks it up afterwards. There was very little engagement on these teeth, and I think that's probably what got them to start breaking. So I'm going to do everything I can to try to push these together so there's maximum engagement on the teeth. And I think that may mean shimming this bigger gear on the shaft that it rides on. So I won't be able to tell until I put it back in the printer, but that's the next step. See that? It's able to move back and forth quite a bit. Of course, I want it all the way this way as much as possible. And I'm not sure where they came from, but somewhere along the way, I acquired these. These are like a nylon washer for a number 8 screw, roughly. So I've got a couple of these that I think I'll probably insert to space that gear over and make sure that it keeps a nice tight mesh. Here's just a single washer. I think this is going to be the right amount. So I'll set it back in place, taking care to hold that washer so it doesn't slip out. All right, the gear mechanism is reinstalled, and here's the moment of truth. Perfect. That gear doesn't slide back and forth at all. So now this side-to-side carriage holder can go back in place. Next, I'll flip this over and I will reinstall the paper picker-upper. I'm just going to keep with that name on the bottom side. First thing is this drive gear. It meshes with the gear train that I just reinstalled down here. So this is the original one that came with the printer. I'm not using a replacement. I think this one is just fine. Drop it into the axle. Yeah, so once the axle is inserted on this side, then it's aligning the spring into the little pedestal it sits on, and then kind of just feels like you're going to break it. There it is. And I'll hook up this ribbon cable to the drive assembly here. And reassembly is basically just the opposite of disassembly. Now we're going to reinstall the front after inserting its cable, and then try to feed that ribbon back inside the case a little bit. All right, this is the one. Let's see, you have to slide it. I think we slide it over to the right first, set it down, and slide it to the left. Next, how about some rollers? And the cover for the rollers. And how about some print cartridges? And then we'll attach this on its notch right there. All right, let's see if this thing prints anything. It didn't like that first go around. Okay, let's try this again. I kind of reset the paper to be farther back in the tray. Well, I've been playing with this thing, trying everything I can. I cleaned off these rollers really well. I even stretched out that spring that presses the roller assembly down on the paper so it pressed down with a little bit more pressure. And nothing seems to work. Here, I'll hit print a demo page and you can see what it does or doesn't do. Just focus in on these rollers as well as this white gear. So there it just attempted to do a pickup, but you can see the rollers didn't stay long enough down on the paper to actually affect anything. Wait for it to be done with whatever it wants to do. If I roll this gear manually and just keep on going, you can see that paper does actually get fed up into what would be the main rollers up above. It literally is as simple as the motor is giving up too early. If it kept on spinning this gear like I am, feeding would happen. As a really just last ditch effort, I'm gonna try and clean off the rollers with some alcohol. That should be about as clean as these rollers can be. See if that makes any difference. Here we go, demo page. It just doesn't stay down long enough, or it doesn't spin enough, I'm not sure. Trying it with a big thick stack of paper now. Nope. Let's try washing this rotary encoder with a little bit of alcohol too. Nothing high tech, just grabbing it on both sides and then spinning it with the gear on the other side. Okay, cleaned encoder ring. See if that makes any difference. I don't expect it will. Nope. What is making it pop back up? What is tripping? What is giving it the signal that says, hey, stop what you're doing? Here's a slow motion capture, and if you look at the gears that are attached to the rollers, you see that they stall almost immediately after the rollers touch paper. So the rollers really aren't given enough time to actually spin and move any paper before the whole assembly is reversed and retracted. I've got it rigged up to where the rollers are permanently down on the paper. I did that by removing this lifting lowering trolley. So as soon as this gear starts spinning, those rollers start spinning and there's no delay while it drops down to the paper. I did that to kind of prove to myself that it really is an issue with the motor not spinning long enough. So let's print that demo page. You can watch the motor and the rollers here. That's as far as it takes the paper. Let me unplug this thing so it doesn't keep on making noise. So basically, it would need to lift the paper all the way up here to get to the next rollers. And you can see it just barely moves it. So there's really just not enough rotation of that motor to get the paper far along enough. And so what is preventing the motor from spinning longer? I think it has to do probably with these limit switches. I think these normally would tell the printer, hey, the paper has arrived, you can stop spinning. But if you look deep down inside here, it looks like they work through a magnetic pickup. See that little part swings back and forth, and I think that's a magnet on either side. And so normally it is closed and then it goes open. Well, if that circuit was failed somehow and it was always open, then that would be like telling the computer that, hey, the paper is already all the way up here. And that potentially could tell the motor, hey, I don't need to spin any longer. So plausible explanation, I don't know if that's what's really going on, but it makes sense to me that basically the computer is getting the wrong signals from the sensors it uses to know where paper is, and then it's using those signals incorrectly to tell the motor to stop spinning. So that's where I'm at with this thing. It's been fun. I've learned a lot. I definitely could have bought a new printer. Well, almost. I could have bought half of a new replacement for this by now. But it really was worth it to me just to learn how these work and to gain some experience and make a video that's maybe helpful to other people. So anyway, this is as far as I'm going to take this project. If it was entertaining or helpful, hit that like button. If you've got questions, I'll try to answer them in the comments. In any case, thanks for watching.